but really just like looking in their eyes and remembering you are a person. You are a whole person and you're growing. They do feel that like, why am I not that interesting? Why do I not feel that important? But how can we enter into their world and come to them so that we can keep that connection strong? But the kids are like, oh wow, like why, how did you propose to mom? And what was that like? And all the things. And so it's creating this connection because we're sharing our stories together. Let's talk about just keeping our kids connected. Let's talk about having a culture in our home where our kids want to talk to us and it feels like we're connected to them, they feel connected to us. And so when problems arise or things happen, that we can be trusted people that they come to. When they have questions about life, they'll come to us, they'll talk to us. And so let me just preface by saying my oldest kid's 11. I am about to have my 6th child, and so maybe this video would be made better by somebody who has a child in their 30s or 40s. But one thing I also like to think about when it comes to helping somebody who's a step behind you is being okay with the fact that you just transversed the part of the trail that they're going down. And sometimes when somebody gets too far down the trail, they kind of forgot what that earlier part of the trail felt like, and they can kind of gloss over, oh, it wasn't that bad, or that wasn't that hard, or why are you even worried about that? They just tend to forget. So I feel like, here at Girl Teach Me, I really am trying to help a newer mom who is still transversing that first part of the trail with young kids. And so let me just say all that. My name is Lana. Like I said, this is Girl Teach Me, and this whole channel is just to help you as a mom to stay intentional and just to help you level up to become that kind of mom you really want to be. I think we all want to be great moms. We just get down on ourselves, or we get frustrated, or we get discouraged. And so I want this channel to be a place where you can come and feel encouraged, but also challenged to continue to grow. So if any of that resonates with you, I hope you'll stay and hit subscribe. The other thing is, and I say it in all my videos, if you're pregnant, because us mamas get pregnant sometimes, I have a free class for you. It's 5 key decisions you should consider making if you want to improve and change your birth experience. I think a lot of times we just are trained to just leave it up to chance and leave it up to the experts, but I'm here to tell you that there's some things you can do to improve your experience. So let's talk about staying connected. And why I think staying connected is so important is because in any kind of relationship, if we're just thinking about our husband relationship, those times where it's harder is when we feel like we're passing like 2 ships in the night. We're just not connected. And the same I think can happen with our kids if we're not paying attention, is we just kind of lose that connection, and then they don't really feel like they can come to us. And so I just know that it's all going to ebb and flow. Relationships are like that. But I think a lot of our desires as women is to feel close to our kids and to have that sweet relationship with our children. And obviously it's a relationship, so it's a two-way street. But I think it's our job as the adult to come to them. Let's not expect them to come to us. Let's go to them. And what do I mean by that is sometimes we're trying to connect with kids, but we want them to take interest in what we have interest in, and we expect them to come to us. Now, I do think there is something to like a joy shared is a joy doubled. Like if you have a joy of running, a really sweet thing you can do is take your child with you running if they want to. So bringing them into our joys, because sometimes I think that we're like, no, this is my time, and there's this time and space for that. I get that. But a joy shared is a joy doubled, but also a joy shared with what they're into. And I went to a talk recently at our church, and they brought in this guy, and he was fabulous. I was crying, I was laughing, I was taking a million notes. And really, if I could boil down his talk, it was about staying connected. It was really like more towards like, how do we stay connected to our teens? But his main thing was, whatever your child is interested in, find 1 or 2 things that you also become interested in, that I also become interested in. And he gave the example of like, if you have a teen that's just not talking to you and they're playing a lot of video games, like sometimes we need to pick up the controller and sit down beside them. And I like hate video games, and we don't have it in our home, but he just gave that example. If your child's really into, I had a friend, she's like, the only thing my kid's really into is like fishing. And she's like, I really don't want to go sit on the bank beside him and fish. But it's like, do we want to be connected, right? So we kind of talked about like, maybe you go sit beside him and you read a book, but you're there. what can we enter into? Maybe our kids are into Pokemon, or they're into Legos, or they're into, you name it. It's probably not something we're super excited about, but how can we enter into their world and come to them so that we can keep that connection strong? The next one is so basic, but it's something that the Restoration Home group I'm in with Jennifer Pepito and the Peaceful Press, it's like a group of women, and it's like a membership you join. One thing she talks a lot about is eye contact, and how she even has like eye contact challenges where you play like staring contests with your little kids and things like that. But just like, how often do we really stop and look in their eyes? Not like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? Hey, just barking them around with orders is what I do sometimes. But really just like looking in their eyes and remembering, you are a person. You are a whole person, and you're growing, and I love you so much. Why would I not stop and look into those precious eyes? So just taking that time to feel connected, because we're giving them that eye contact. And that's what we desire, right? Like with our husbands, like, our friends, we feel hurt when they're scrolling. We feel hurt when they're not paying attention to us, when we really want to be seen. And I think our kids really want to be seen, but like looking into somebody's eyes, I think eye contact can be so powerful. And back with the eye contact, the next one I would say is, it's the age-old thing with screens, right? I feel like you could just beat a dead horse here, but I know that we're all struggling with it, and it's something that's attached with a lot of shame, because if we're scrolling on our phone or on our computer or whatever, and then we kind of come to and we're like, oh my gosh, I just wasted so much time, there can be shame that's attached there, because I think the enemy is a shamer, and I think he speaks like, how could you waste so much time? How could you neglect all your responsibilities? How could you ignore all your kids? All those things. And I think sometimes we're just trying to check out because life feels hard, but our kids can feel that. And so just finding a place for our homes to rest, for our homes to rest, for our phones to rest, like, in a drawer away, so that we can give them that full focus when we are with them. Wherever you are, be all there. That's what Jim Elliot, Elizabeth Elliot's first husband, said. Be all there, and we can't be all there with our kids all the time. That's just like kind of just not... It's just hard. We've got to check out a little bit and have some time to restore and have some time to rest. But when we are with them, just being all there and putting the screens away, because they do feel that like, why am I not that interesting? Why do I not feel that important? Because I know we've all felt that way whenever we've been with somebody and we're like, I was really looking forward to some quality time, and it's not quality. So one thing I personally did, because I felt like for me the struggle went further, it felt like I had like ADHD, and it just felt like it kept pulling me in and pulling me in, was I got a different kind of phone. First I got a light phone, then I got a Wise phone. And the Wise phone's kind of nice because it looks a little bit more like a smartphone. It is a smartphone, but it doesn't have social media on it. I basically have Audible and like text function, Spotify. I mean, I have things that could be distractions, like more audibly, but not as much visually. And so that's been really good for me and my brain. So that might be something to think about if you're really wanting to step up in the screen department. You've put all kinds of things on yourself and it just hasn't seemed to change. That could be a way to just, take radical control. You're not having to rely on willpower quite as much. The other thing that's really helped us stay connected, and that I've noticed has been a bridge to connection, is reading together. I mean, reading the Bible together, reading good stories together. I love a good trusted book list. Sharing stories is so powerful because it gives you like a common language. It gives you inside jokes together. Remember that one time in that part of the story where this and that, and people do that with movies, but there's just something special about doing read aloud. So if you have small children, read alouds can be honestly one of the most special parts of motherhood. Just sharing good stories, good laughs, tears together. I mean, I've read books and like, Mom, why are you crying again? I'm like, it's touching my heart. It just is. It's so beautiful. So reading really good stories together. I think there's a book called Honey for a Child's Heart. That's a great trusted book list source. Also Peaceful Press. Like if you're thinking about like a pre-K curriculum or kindergarten curriculum, she has some really sweet book lists within those curriculums that are just great. They're just good stories, and that's been a source of connection for my kids and I, is to sit down and read together. Another one is to sing together. We try to do family worship, and this is something relatively new in the last year. So if you're like, Lana, that's so like unrelatable, I can't even relate to like sitting down and do family worship, I would say like it's taken us some time to get there. But one thing we try to do is we just sit down and like we sing a song together. We even just like throw it on Siri, like Phil Wickham song or something like that, or an old hymn, and just singing together. There is something so unifying about singing together. It's relaxing, it's calming, but it's unifying. And they actually, like, I don't know if you remember this, but when we came out of that horrible COVID season and we got to go back to church together and we all sang together, I just cried because it touched my heart so much. I forgot how unifying and connecting for the body of Christ it is to come together and sing together, especially when it's a worship song. So singing together, just, I know it could feel weird at first if you're just busting it out of nowhere, but you know, if you just lead the way, it'll become normal, and that's what it's become in our house. But at first it felt a little weird, but you know, now we're trying to sing together every single day. And even with like the Christmas season that I'm currently filming this in, like we try to sing like a Christmas song together when we're doing our family worship time. So that's been a really sweet way to stay connected. And even my friend who has a lot of children and they've done family worship for years, like her husband plays the guitar and he gets out his guitar and everybody sings together. And almost like that camp feel, like when you would go to like a summer camp or something like that and you would sing together, it was unifying and it's connecting. Okay, the next one is so basic, but in the busyness of everybody's lives, eating together as much as we can, sitting down at the table, looking each other in the eye, eating together. And when we have so many like busy sports schedules and things like that, and my kids play baseball and my kids are doing stuff, you know, so maybe we only get like a true family dinner like twice a week during the week. But when we do that, one thing that's also been really helpful, it's like a piggyback on the family dinner. 2 things we do. We take the lights down low. Actually 3. We take the lights down low, we light some beeswax candles, and everybody's mood kind of just like, if people are stressed or kind of crazy or high energy, it's kind of like, you know, like a beehive, and it just goes, it just like calms down. And then we play, I tell Siri like, hey, play relaxing classical music. I keep it really low and just set the environment for the dinner. And the other thing we do that's been really fun, and I think this helps with connection, it's a connection point, is question books or question decks. These are so interesting. Let me tell you why. I think we love what we learn more about. And sometimes this word always for me, I don't know what is so hard to enunciate about it. Familiarity. The problem with familiarity is that it can make us dull in our curiosity and wonder and love of one another. And so sometimes when we're around each other so much, we forget to get curious and keep learning about one another. And what they've shown that actually helps us enjoy one another more or enjoy something more, like let's say wine, is not drinking more wine, it's learning more about wine. Like if there's something you really enjoy, it's probably because you know a lot about it. If we're going to enjoy our kids, if they're going to enjoy us, learning about one another is so very important. And to continue to be curious, like there is no end to what we can continue to learn about our children. Like what is their favorite candy? What is the thing they're looking forward to the most? But also when we do these question decks or these questions and ask things about our life, I'll leave a couple down below, like with our favorites. We do this as a family and it'll inevitably like some old story will come up for my husband and I, and it's so fun for the kids, and it's not a story we would naturally normally talk about, but the kids are like, oh wow, like how did you propose to mom, and what was that like, and all the things. And so it's creating this connection because we're sharing our stories together and we're learning about one another. And it's not just like a humdrum dinner where you don't really know what to talk about and we're like just disciplining. It becomes an experience. It's so very, very nice. So having dinner together, but then also setting the environment, lights, candles, slow music. It could be over mac and cheese. It could be over boxed pizza. It does not matter. A great meal is so beautiful, and sure, we should shoot for that. But really the connection is what our kids will remember. And then adding question decks. Those can help so very much. Okay, and the last one, I'll just bonus one because I think I've already covered 8. This is the way that I feel the most connected with my kids, is just really making sure we're getting some physical touch in, some snuggle time. Even my big boys. I mean, I heard this years ago when I had little boys, but it was like, just because you have big boys doesn't mean that they don't also still want to be hugged and snuggled. They just are not going to ask for it as much, but they still yearn for it. So just finding ways to like hug until they let go, you know, let them be the first ones to let go, or invite them to come snuggle up. Or we like to do fires in the living room that has no TV, and we all kind of snuggle up and we can read a book. And so just making sure we're touching, we're hugging, that physical touch, it can mean so much to a child, but especially a child whose love language is physical touch. And I know that we're still trying to figure out our kids' love languages as they get older, but how sad it would be to deprive them of that physical touch. So I loved that idea, like hug until they let go, because sometimes we're ready to let go and they just want to linger a little bit longer. I personally, every mom's different, so this is not to shame you, but one way we get this in is like, if a child is scared, we do let them get in the bed with us and we do go snuggle with them. I had two kids in the bed and I'm pregnant last night, so we played musical beds, and I actually went and like laid down with my 11-year-old boy and we snuggled, and it's probably a train wreck, but also I feel like we're all connected and we're touching. It kind of just reminds me of like a mammal with piles of like little babies all together. Like we're just kind of meant to snuggle together and be together. And so I think that would be like my other one, is like whatever in the way that matches your family. Like how can you continue with physical touch and even offering that hug or staying connected in that way. I mean, that is why I love homeschool, is it just gives me that extra time to know them, that extra time to get snuggles in and all the things. But I know that homeschool is not for everyone, but just that time has really allowed me to get more of this connectedness, and that is my goal, to like really know my kids so I can be there to answer the hard questions when they have questions about why the world is the way that it is, and the things that hurt them. I hope and pray that they feel like they can come talk to us, that there's nothing they could say to make us love them the less, and there's nothing they can say or do to make us love them more, that they already have all the love that they could want from us, and it's not conditional. And that's just something I want them to know about my relationship with the Lord, and hopefully their relationship with the Lord one day is like, we have all the love we could ever need right there available to us. We don't have to earn it, and it's freely given. That's why it's a gift. And so I hope and pray that this just gave you some great ideas for getting connected with your child today. If you have some great ideas on how you stay connected, please share down below, because my whole goal is that this would be like Girl Teach Me, not just Lana Teach Me. And that down in the comments would be a place that we could kind of like springboard ideas and share wisdom and share experiences to encourage other moms, and to leave your questions if there's other things you'd like for me to talk about as well. I'm always taking ideas for videos, but it's so fun to sit and hang out with you just at nap time. What a joy it is just to set up my camera in the middle of my homeschool day and get to spend some time with you. So I hope and pray that you'll just take one little action step from what all I've shared to stay more connected to your kids today. And I'll see you again in the next video.
It's so unnecessary dwelling about the past, 'cause I know that God is good. He led me to where I'm at. Sometimes I feel like giving up, you're giving in, but everything happens for a reason. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like iron sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like iron sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other,